Welcome to This Explainer. Look, if you're deep in the trenches of doctoral research, you already know that the journey usually starts with a massive, intimidating hurdle. Yep, I'm talking about the dreaded Chapter 1. That blank page that literally just stares back at you, mocking you. Well, today, we're demystifying how to use AI tools specifically for scholars in English language teaching, applied linguistics, and general linguistics who are trying to tackle their dissertation introduction. We're going to take that overwhelming, stress-inducing blank page and transform it into a structured, highly efficient process using the absolute best tech out there.
So let's just address the elephant in the room. It's the burning question on every scholar's mind right now, isn't it? As you stare down mountains of literature, complex theoretical frameworks, and just endless drafting, you might be wondering, can AI just write my PhD thesis for me? Let's be real, it's super tempting to think of AI as a magic button that will instantly generate a polished dissertation. But we really need to look at the reality of what these tools are actually designed to do in higher academia.
And this hits the nail on the head. The core philosophy of our explainer today is a resounding no to the magic button myth. AI should be used as a research assistant, not as a replacement for your original thinking and analysis. Think of it this way. AI is here to do the heavy lifting, the summarizing, the formatting, the initial searching. But your scholarly judgment, your unique perspective, your critical analysis, those are completely irreplaceable. You are the principal investigator here. AI is just your incredibly fast, very eager lab assistant. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll be covering 1. Your AI research assistant, 2. Searching and mapping literature, 3. Finding the research gap, 4. Drafting the introduction, 5. Polishing and managing citations, and finally, 6. The ultimate AI toolkit. Let's get right into it. Section 1. Your AI research assistant. Okay, let's dive into this phase and define exactly what this assistant should be doing for you. It's really all about a division of labor. AI handles the grunt work, summarizing incredibly dense papers, checking complex academic grammar, tracking down those tedious citations. And because the AI handles all that busy work, it frees up massive amounts of your cognitive energy for what only you can do: the original analysis, the scholarly judgment, and the deep interpretation of your data. By outsourcing the repetitive stuff, you stay in total control of the actual thought process that's driving your research. To make sure you keep that control, we're going to follow this structured 5-step workflow. Step 1, identify your topic. Step 2, search and map the literature. Step 3, find that critical research gap. Step 4, actually draft Chapter 1. And Step 5, polish and manage your citations. Basically, this takes the whole chaotic, overwhelming dissertation process and turns it into a clear, step-by-step quest. Section 2, searching and mapping literature. Let's move into the second phase of our journey, surveying the academic land and gathering our first set of essential tools. So, the trick here is knowing exactly which tool does what. Otherwise, you're just going to burn out. When you need to track down foundational or recent empirical studies without drowning in irrelevant Google Scholar junk, Elicit and Semantic Scholar AI are absolute lifesavers. Honestly, Elicit is practically built for finding empirical English language teaching studies. But finding the papers is really only half the battle, right? To understand how they actually connect to one another, mapping tools like ResearchRabbit, Connected Papers, and Lit Maps become your best friends. They visually build these interactive literature networks, they track citation relationships, and they help you discover influential authors in your very specific niche almost instantly. Now, for the linguistics and applied linguistics scholars watching, your toolkit needs some specialized firepower. Instead of manually coding thousands and thousands of words, which, let's face it, takes forever, tools like SketchEngine, AntConc, and Lanxbox allow you to analyze massive text data sets in literal seconds. They are a total game changer for corpus linguistics. And meanwhile, Voyant Tools is fantastic for broader, high-level text analysis. Integrating these into your early research phase just ensures your methodology is a really solid, data-driven foundation right out of the gate. Section 3. Finding the research gap. With our literature fully mapped out, we transition to arguably the most critical step of your entire PhD, finding that empty plot in the academic landscape where your unique research is going to live. Now, what's really interesting about this is how we can take a classic academic framework and supercharge it with modern technology. In ELT and applied linguistics, establishing your gap using conventions like Swale's CARS model, which stands for Creative Research Space, is pretty much standard practice. It requires you to set the research context, identify theoretical frameworks, like, say, sociocultural theory or translanguaging, and then definitively claim your academic territory. Well, AI acts as a precision instrument to help you execute this model flawlessly. To actually execute that CARS model, AI steps up as your ultimate reading assistant. I mean, imagine not drowning in 50 open PDF tabs. You upload a dense paper and SciSpace instantly explains the complex statistical methodology to you. Or you use Notebook LM to rapidly group overarching themes across a dozen different articles. Then, to prove your research gap isn't just, a mirage, you use consensus to find real, evidence-based answers. And this is crazy. Scite will actually tell you if subsequent studies support or contradict specific claims. It helps you pinpoint that elusive gap in the literature without any of the old-school guesswork. Section 4, Drafting the Introduction. We've mapped the literature, we've verified the gap. It is time to face the blank page syndrome, fully armed with our AI assistants. Chapter 1 has very distinct sections, and you need the right tool for each specific job to build a logical narrative. Use conversational AIs like ChatGPT and Claude alongside Notebook LM to brainstorm and structure the background of your study. When you need a robust global perspective, Perplexity AI acts as an incredible rapid research engine. For local perspectives, pairing ChatGPT with Google Scholar or government reports really grounds your writing in reality. And as we discovered, when you're writing the critical research gap and need for the study, you lean heavily on Elicit, Scite, and consensus to make sure your arguments are rock solid and fully backed by the literature. As you hit the really meticulous details of Chapter 1, we're talking objectives, research questions, hypotheses, scope, limitations, and delimitations. ChatGPT becomes your primary co-pilot. Because these sections require strict logical alignment based on your background, ChatGPT is perfect for acting as a sounding board, refining your arguments, and ensuring the whole thing flows cohesively. Plus, SciSpace can jump in here to help you formulate precise operational definitions based on existing published literature. Section 5. Polishing and managing citations. You have a solid draft, but remember, a draft is definitely not a submission. Let's transition to the final phase of the workflow to ensure your draft is scholarly, formal, and impeccably cited. The big thing to remember in this phase is the difference between style and structure. For academic style, Grammarly and WordTune are great for general clarity, but PaperPal, that offers journal-style editing specifically tailored for academic researchers. On the structural side, citation management is absolutely non-negotiable. Whether you choose Zotero, Mendeley, or EndNote, you must use one of these. Integrating a tool like Zotero from day one is literally the only way to prevent a total formatting meltdown, or, finding yourself crying over a crashed Word document at 3 a.m. when you're inches away from your final submission deadline. Section 6, the Ultimate AI Toolkit. Let's move to our grand finale and see how all of this builds into the ultimate software stack. Okay, this is it. This is your definitive 2026 blueprint for conquering Chapter 1 efficiently. Think of it as one perfectly integrated workflow. You discover high-quality empirical studies with Elicit and Semantic Scholar. You map those studies visually with ResearchRabbit and connected papers. You verify your evidence and cement your gap with Scite and consensus. You read and synthesize those massive PDFs using SciSpace and Notebook LM. Then you draft the structural bones with ChatGPT. And finally, you give it that perfect academic polish with PaperPal and manage every single citation seamlessly with Zotero. The whole shebang. Using these tools in a synchronized stack completely transforms your efficiency while maintaining the absolute highest scholarly rigor. And that brings us to the most important question of all. We've just handed off the formatting, the initial searching, the structural outlining, all of it, to your AI research assistants. So, with AI handling the busy work, what groundbreaking ideas will your human mind uncover? You now actually have the time and the cognitive space to focus on what truly matters, your original contribution to the field of linguistics. The blank page isn't an obstacle anymore, it's an invitation. Get out there and start exploring.